Hello everyone, it is Zigzag here. Welcome back to another GeoGuessr video. Good to have you along today. I recently saw Chicago Geographer and GeoPeter both do a video on satellite view on borders of the world, and I thought it looked like a lot of fun and something that I should try out myself. So we're going to be playing Borders of the World, which is a map I've played before on normal settings, but we're going to be playing with 5 minutes around on satellite view. It's also going to be a challenge link, so hit it up in the description if you want to play beforehand. The link to the script that you need to play in satellite mode will also be there, but if you don't have the script, you can just play on the street. Anywho, here is the first round here. Let's get into it. We are looking at quite a rural border here, presumably, and it's interesting, like, the border seems to be in the bottom right-hand side of the screen here. Oh, no. No. We spawned over there, but this is the actual place we need to get. Here is where the border is. Very green, very, like, agricultural, and this town here almost reminds me of Europe because of all these red roofs, I think. If you guys didn't know, my skills when it comes to satellite imagery compared to normal GeoGuessr, quite a bit worse, but okay, let's see. So we've got the compass in the top left here. It says that is the north, so the sun should be to the south, which means we'd be in the northern hemisphere, so we can rule out Brazil or something like that, hopefully. We've got significant hills here that are quite green, so I guess Italy, but no, it couldn't be Italy because the northern border would be too mountainous, but okay, this is what the border crossing looks like. Seems to be a fairly, it doesn't seem to be too secure, but I do wonder if it's in the Schengen area or not, whether it, I don't really know how that stuff would work too well, but okay, let's take a look. This is kind of sprawling village. It's definitely Europe. Without a doubt, Europe. We can rule out everything else, but can we actually find anything that's going to help us out significantly here as to which country it is? I would say Eastern Europe is most likely. Okay, we have like a bunch of standalone apartments here, but mostly we are on like, single-story houses. Could be like Hungary or Serbia or something like that. We've got like a bunch of roundabouts here. I think it's a little too green for Spain. And look at these hills. They're quite significant hills. Maybe somewhere in Romanian border or something like that. The mountain range seems to go north to south, so we can definitely use that. And then there's only a few small bodies of water. What's this over here then? Yeah, just some fields. Okay, so kind of difficult. It does look like we might be on a river border, at least in this section over here, or at least we have some kind of river flowing. But actually the border seems to miss the river, so that's really interesting. Okay, so all red roofs. Where would we be here? Could it be like, with the hilliness, it could even be somewhere in like Slovenia and Austrian border or something like that. Okay, so we do have some hills up here, so we could be on like a border here or something like that. I could see Slovakia and Hungary being the culprits here. It's all possible. I don't really know. I know I should be like 5K'ing this, but to me, you can tell me if I'm missing anything, but to me, there's not actually too much distinctive on this round, apart from, that river there, which, doesn't really line up with the one I've gotten here, sadly. Okay, maybe like a Hungary, Romania would actually make more sense if we can find like a decently hilly section of it. I don't think Ukraine would have that many red roofs, although easily could in the southern section. So, yeah, in conclusion, not too sure what to do here, but I think I would just go where I had it here and, hope for some decent points because we're presumably nearby. And it ends up being the Serbian and Bulgarian border, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's not a river border, which is always difficult. And yeah, okay, so that's what was going on. Fairly normal round. I mean, we couldn't see the Danube, unfortunately, but we could see this kind of mountain border over there. If the borders were somehow drawn onto the satellite imagery, then it would be obviously very, very much easier. But yeah, okay, here's the next one. And so it's very dry. We can have unofficial coverage in this map as well, I believe. So here's the border crossing. Seems to be kind of like an east to west border crossing, so that can definitely help. And a fairly straight one as well, I'd imagine, because of this road that kind of runs along the border. So Mexico-US sprung to mind. It did spring to mind here. Considering that that's the angle though, I guess there's not too many sections that would actually have that angle on the Mexican-US border. This section here, Mexicali section, could work, and we do have some roads that run along that border, so couldn't count it out, but that's the only section around here, I would say, where this would actually work. So can we see any hills? We do see hills down here. We do see like some like ridges in the way that we might around there. The problem is I think on this section we don't really have any proper towns. San Judas, or yeah, I don't really think it. San Judas doesn't really work. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So do we see any like significant city? This city here, if it is indeed a city, which I'm not convinced it is too small, regardless, to be Mexicali or something. Okay. So if we zoom onto this road, we can't actually see whether we're using white road lines or not, unfortunately. And well, yeah. Okay. We got some water here as well. That's definitely useful. That's definitely useful. So, gonna have to stop thinking about this border here, even though still consider it like a vague possibility. I just don't think it's quite built up enough for us to be like in Mexicali or something like that. Yeah, seems to not fit at all. Okay, so moving away from that border, where else could this be? Could it be somewhere in Africa even? I could see that. We have like some significant hills here. Almost reminds me a little bit of the border between Botswana and South Africa, where you do have quite a number of kind of like strange-looking hills that just jut out in the landscape. So I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. So can we see any similarly shaped places here? I mean, the angle of the border is actually quite fitting, actually. So I don't hate that. Taking a look in closer here, I mean, it probably seems like it's a little wrongly shaped. I mean, we should have maybe more houses, but hey. I mean, that road here looks very similar to that one there, so I'm going to put my marker there. I think this actually may be correct, you know? It just fits, like, remarkably well. So we have this road here that should be coming off, and it does. Wow, I can't believe I found that second try. Very clean indeed, very clean indeed. It was those hills, it was these hills right over here. They're kind of randomly jutting out ones that you always see around Gaborone. Which is just over the border here, of course. So yeah, I guess that's these ones here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so 5K, very nice, very clean. 29 meters away, obviously it's going to be 5K, and we move on to the next one. That was good detective work. So we sometimes I can, you know, do some good guesses in satellite mode at least. Okay, next one will look a little bit harder here. Southeast Asia or South America, something of the two, I would imagine. And so it's a land border with a river. That's extremely useful. Okay, immediately was thinking of like Panhandle, Argentina here. Yeah, I immediately like that. I do. What's this one like? No, too built up, but I definitely like that idea regardless. So we've got two small towns either side of the border here. One of them is kind of long and the other is kind of wide. So can I decide what country I think I'm in? The red dirt plus the greenery of it really reminds me of Argentinian Panhandle. So I'm going to check out different places here where we're actually crossing a river. Could even be, of course, something like that. And so the angle of the bridge is north-south. And it's quite a thin section of the river as well. And so now I'm just looking for ones that fit. I feel like we are here, so would make sense as well. It's places that have coverage. Angle is north to south though, so plenty of these bridges are not quite on the right angle when it comes to the ones I've checked so far. So that's clearly not the case. No, and this is a little hilly over here to be it, so going back to checking this kind of direction over here. The first one I looked at, I didn't mind, but yeah, it's unfortunately too big over here. Okay, so Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is like similar size, but doesn't have a bridge. And this one over here is, yeah, too big. So, maybe not there, maybe not there. Let's think about where else we could be here. That kind of really reminded me of this, so I'm just going to leave my marker there for sure. Okay, so something like this. Leticia area? Would Leticia area actually fit here? No, Leticia does border another town. Okay, good to know, good to know. Okay, so where is this then? Quite a difficult round, Maybe I should be looking for more clues. The unfortunate thing is that it's quite low quality here. So I would say we'll probably... It's actually hard to say what side of the road we're even driving on here. A few blue roofs do make me think that Southeast Asia is possible here, so let's go ahead and check that out. So, as for the Cambodian border with Vietnam, that's definitely a possibility. And so, which one would... Where would we be then? It has to be on like a river border. It has to be on a river border, so we can surely find that. Yeah, not convinced just there. Do we have any river border here with Vietnam? We do, a little bit, but not too much, really. Okay, so starting to lose faith in that way. What side of the border are we actually on here? We seem to be on the north side of the border. That could be very useful. So we're in the country to the north. So yeah, we could be on like a southern border here. If we found an appropriate stretch that goes along a river like this. Unfortunately, that's not correct. But okay, 1 minute and 50 left here. This border here doesn't feel quite right. Unless... Okay, we have river border here. You know, this is not impossible. This is not impossible. It has to be a flat section, though. And this section is quite flat. Okay. That's a bit built up, unfortunately. We need it to be more north-south anyway. Yeah, I think the hills over here are a bit big. And this section here is not on a river, so there's plenty of problems. Plenty of problems with this border. I'm not convinced by it, to be perfectly honest with you. It's too built up. I think we can leave it alone. Okay, so starting to run out of viable options here, I feel. If we are in the northern country, I guess Vientiane area could work. We could be somewhere in Laos, like this, or something like that. The border angle and the river both fit, but I feel like the river we have here is a bit shorter. Is a bit thinner, sorry. So, yeah, it's tough. We don't have too many blue roofs, so I still kind of prefer Latin America. It's just, with the flatness, it would also fit better, I think. So, yeah, I mean, it just feels like we have slight hills here, but nothing major. So, yeah, I think I will actually settle for here. Unfortunately, though, I just don't really see where it would fit too well. Let's take one last look at this. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the right bridge, so really, it feels bad, man. I don't know where this one's actually going to be. North border here? It seems like we're in the northern country, though, so yeah, none of this really tends to make much sense to me, unfortunately. And then Brazil is also obviously the other option here, so maybe we should just click somewhere in Brazil. We do have a river border around here, but it seems like all the towns are quite tiny, and could also be the case over here, to be honest. So yeah, perhaps not. And man, I was just about to click there. I mean, not there specifically, but maybe I would have found it. But I can't believe it took me that long to even think of checking this border here. Obviously, the Rio Acre would have made a lot of sense there. So no doubt a lot of you guys got that, but unfortunately for me, I did not. But it makes so much sense indeed. So, I mean, you guys could see that I was like starting to get there. I was literally panning over to there. So, what can you do? What can you do, really? Okay, let's give this a good zoom out so we can get a good idea here. Wow, this one's unique. What is that all about? Is that a lake? A horrible quality here. Okay, so next, this one, what are we on? Some kind of white road here. And this is the border crossing. This is extreme poor quality. Extremely poor quality. Maybe it's Africa for that reason. I mean, Africa tends to have kind of worse, satellite imagery than in, for example, Western Europe or something like that. Okay, we have a car here. Maybe this is like North Canada as well. That could also explain the poor quality. It feels relatively flat. I mean, these might be hills, though. But, yeah, it doesn't really... The kind of white dirt road, the stark white dirt road did remind me of Canada, but a lot of the rest around doesn't, to be honest. A lot of the rest around doesn't. It's kind of strange. It is kind of strange. Okay, we have a town here. Let's see if we can get anything from this town. Okay, so some really long houses, a lot of blue roofs, and a lot of, ooh. All of a sudden, looking at this apartment building here, I kind of like Mongolia. I must say, I kind of like Mongolia here. Okay, so where's the actual border itself? The border itself is here. But all of a sudden, I really like Mongolia just because looking at this town. It's kind of strange looking. We have blue roofs, a lot of apartment buildings, and these like kind of Soviet-style like rows of things with a big rail running between the town, or through the town, should I say. So which side of the border do we think we're on? Let's go back to that. So it seems like we're on the southern side of the border here, but it is so low quality that you really can't tell. It's green. We have slight hills over here, perhaps. Slight hills over here. Okay, let's get into here. So obviously China or Russia make the most sense here. I would say maybe... What is this one? What is this town like over here? I would say this one is possible. Do we have a big rail running through the middle? I don't think so. And it would be too desert down there. No, what was I talking about? Not at all there. But somewhere green. We have a big rail running through the center of one of these towns. Okay, so where... Would we have a big rail there? It's too mountainous over there anyway. We have to pick somewhere that's fairly on the border and fairly green and fairly like flat, all things considered, for northern Mongolian standards. Okay. Yeah, it's tough. There's not actually much fitting here to me. Okay, over this direction here, do we have a big rail? No. Yeah, maybe it's not Mongolia. We spent half of our time thinking about here, but okay. It's like a double rail. That's the problem here. Look, I'll put my marker there, but I think it's probably still too dry. And so, China? Could it be China here? China and Russia. Just looking at this town, could it still be North America? I don't think so with these apartment blocks. I personally really do. And look at these like striped curbs, like Russia. So, yeah, I really think we're on a Russian border somewhere here. Kyrgyzstan? If we're on the north side of the border, then Kyrgyzstan could make sense here. Unfortunately, like, Kyrgyzstan's just so huge that I don't think we'll actually find the town here, but, you know, maybe we can use any landmarks or anything. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to say here. I think maybe we should hedge between the two and just kind of pick, like, somewhere on the border around here, near Omsk or something like that. You know, where it's going to be fairly green, for Kyrgyzstan standards. Do we have a few hills around here as well? That's my problem, like, the hills probably make more sense for Mongolia, so maybe I should just stick with there. It's full. This mode is full of decision making when you don't know where it actually is. Maybe this area does make more sense. I don't know. The fact that there's so few trees would definitely fit for both countries, though. I think I will just kind of plonk here and hope for the best. I don't think I'm finding this one. Unfortunately, the resolution is simply too low. But if it's Canada, I'm going to be surprised. So let's see. Oh man, it was this one here. Oh, a tri-border. Tri-border. So we were looking at this town here, and there's the rail. It only shows up as one bit of rail, so that's interesting. But that was Russia over here, and that was China over here, and Mongolia here, and Russia here. So a tri-point border. That's a pretty cool round, I would say, but very difficult, very difficult. And so I'm a little disappointed I didn't get it, but to be fair, the quality was super poor, so I'll cut myself some slack. And so, next one here, because we couldn't even see what side of the border we were on, that was the annoying bit. Okay, next one here. We have some water, so that's definitely going to help. And it appears that that's probably the, we probably have like another tri-point, or at least we have this kind of merging part of a border here. So is this ocean or lake is the question, this little jut here. Regardless, I think it's very findable. I think this one's very findable indeed. So it seems like a fence here or of some kind. So can we work out what hemisphere we're in, maybe? From shadows at all? What even is that? I don't know. Okay, so shadows appear to be cast maybe more so northern. So maybe we're southern hemisphere here. I think these shadows here almost look like they've been cast to the north. Okay. Okay, so where would we be here? Surely not like... Well, it can't be Madagascar, that's an island. Where are we? Where are we? I don't know. Southern Kenya border? No. Well, doesn't seem quite right, does it? That would be too green as well, I'm sure of it. It's very dry. Okay, UAE did come to mind initially. I'm not sure if I love it, but... give it a go for sure. So what side of the border do we reckon we're on? That's the question I forgot to answer. So seems like we are on, well, we're right in the middle there. Seems like we might be on the north side of whatever border we're on, but it's very hard to tell. Man, this should be easy. Where is this? Do we actually get any Tunisian border coverage? No, neither border is covered in Tunisia. Turkey. Although Turkey wouldn't really make sense because it's a little bit too mountainous on all the borders that I can think of. I mean, the Syrian border is fairly flat, but even still, if we were here, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It will be too green there, even for this, I think. Okay, what do we see out here then? A bit of greenery, actually, and a bit of farmland as well. And it's actually better quality out here than I expected it to be. So it is kind of interesting. It's definitely not an open. It's definitely not the kind of open and closed round I thought it might be. Okay, so dry places that actually get coverage that have borders. It's not many. It's UAE. It's Jordan. Okay, Jordan. Didn't think of that now. Jordan could be it, but where do we have this kind of? What even is this over here? Is the hard thing to answer. It could be like salt pans because it's so bright. It's hard to tell what actually is. I still kind of don't like Jordan that much because it would be a little bit too, well, it would be a bit too like dry for the kind of northern part of Jordan where I think it actually could be. Yeah, I don't know. 2 minutes left and I'm still struggling. What about over here in this maybe has some more potential. Does it? Kyrgyzstan border somewhere? Okay, what is that looking like? We have this distinctive, like, kind of peninsula here of some kind, which really does remind me of something. Surely it's not somewhere over here, or it really does remind me of something. Maybe it's, well, could it be somewhere over here? Bolivian Peninsula or something like that. I kind of like that better than what we've seen so far, but I still think that would be a bit mountainous. I mean, we'd see the mountains, so it can't really be. Aish, but okay, think of more borders. Chile? If the wait, the sun set to the southern hemisphere, and I just forgot. So maybe Chile is actually the go here. Maybe Chile is the go. Okay, let's quickly survey this border here. Not so sure what I think of that. Over here, yeah. Okay, if southern hemisphere was the go, then Chile surely makes more sense than anything I've been thinking about so far. I think, and it has to be on a lake somewhere as well. So surely we can find somewhere where the actual border has a significant lake, which is like right next to the actual, well, it's just north of the actual border itself. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely confusing. Like, none of these places seem to fit. So I'm quite sure I haven't actually looked. I don't think I've actually scanned over the actual location here, because I think it would be pretty, pretty recognizable if I did, surely. Click there. Click there. Okay, other desert borders. Wasn't really feeling like Africa to me. But yeah, it didn't really feel like Africa to me, I don't think. And so yeah, I don't know. Could be unofficial coverage. Maybe that's the solution to this. Let's see. And it was in India. That is probably why. So maybe some of you guys recognize this one. Very interesting. We couldn't see this road around the border there. But yeah, we were actually in India at 0.0 or 0 point. So a little tough. I forgot about the not unofficial coverage, so I really didn't give that too much of a look over. Alright guys, I think that's all I have the stamina for today, but it was a really fun challenge, and you know what, I think, we can be proud of the Botswana one, and the rest of the map was not easy. It wasn't too forgiving on us today. We had the right idea some of the time, and that is just the way it goes sometimes. And 9,000, it's not the best score ever, but I'm still, like, given the rounds we had, I'm still happy. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Shoutouts to Chicago Geographer and GeoPeter for the idea, of course, and yeah, I'll be back to you with some good videos coming up. Do subscribe, because I got good videos coming up, and yeah, thanks for making it to the end. Goodbye.